Hi, Mari. Joining me in studio today, it's Mari. She is in Finland, and her company it's called Origin by Sea. How are you, Mari?
Hi, I'm doing very well. It's super cold in Finland, but it's beautifully sunny as well. So I'm very
Surviving.
happy. and
Um,
and our sea is frozen, so I don't actually see the sea now.
oh my God. Can you share with us briefly what do you do? What is your company Origin by Sea doing?
Yeah, right. So Origin by Ocean, what we do, we are producing bio-based and biodegradable ingredients slash chemicals
Mhm.
from ocean overgrowth. We use the term ocean overgrowth to describe invasive seaweed species. So we are mainly using sargassum, which is of course a huge environmental problem, especially in the Caribbean region, Mexico, and in the US. And then we turn that into these highly purified, high performance chemicals. So we have basically developed biorefinery process to refine the seaweed into the chemicals.
Mm. And you transform it into in consumer ingredients that could be used in products or
Yeah, correct. Yes, exactly. So we are B2B. We are not selling consumer products, but we are selling to different type of brands across the markets, from cosmetics to home and personal care, food and textile printing, and also nutraceuticals.
yeah. So it's quite wide use of different industries for this. It's kind of a raw material for other products to
Yeah,
assemble. Mm.
exactly. That's correct. So basically, we work exactly the same way as conventional chemical industry.
Mm.
So one chemical slash ingredient can be used across the market, and we do the same.
Yeah. Hmm. And has been any exciting thing going on this month or these last few months that you would like to share with us?
Oh my God, yes. I think in the state where we are as a company, it is very exciting time because
Yeah.
now we are building the first commercial production plant here in Finland. So we have a investment project ongoing, and I mean you have ups and downs, right? When you are raising funds to build something like that. But I think the excitement really comes from the fact that we have chosen great partners to do this together with us. And I think it's kind of highlighting the fact that how you have to build your own network and how you have to do it together. Like no one is saving the world alone, right? You need to have a lot of very wise people and passionate people to do that together with you. So we actually just published the information that we have chosen our engineering partner for the commercial plant. It's called Elomatic here in Finland. And we
Mm.
also do the first of a kind commercial plant together with CAB Group. CAB Group is a German chemical company providing manufacturing as a service a business model, and they will be the guys operating our future commercial plant. So it's been a very exciting time to be able to work with these two partners and actually get the news and the message out there that we have these great guys to work with us.
Wow. That's big news.
Yeah,
That's
it's huge.
amazing. Congratulations. And this happened this year or it's been for how long is this kind of process taking place, for example?
Yeah, that's actually a very good question, and I'm happy that you're asking that. It always feels that things are just happening right now. So when we publish the news, of course, you will think that work is very recent, but actually it has been a lot of work in the past. So with
Mm.
CAB, we have started the initial discussions already more than 3 years ago, and then we've been just waiting for the right time and phase to do that. And also with Elomatic, we started, when you're doing these type of investment projects, you follow a certain logic
Mm.
because there is a capex involved, right? So you need a capex investment to build something infrastructure like. So that's why we actually started to look at different engineering partners years back, and we've been then we work with yet another company, and now we have Elomatic to do the basic engineering with us. So there is a lot of work which needs to be done before
Yeah.
you are in this phase that you can bring the news out.
Yeah. So exciting.
yeah,
we would love to hear more about it, and maybe the community would love to learn about this process with you and your learnings and best practices that you can share. But maybe we can take it in another conversation. But yeah, it sounds incredible, exciting. So yeah, keep it up. And what I would like to ask you next is, what would you like to have as your legacy? Like, how do you want your organization to be remembered in the future?
I think for us is really to work and execute and implement everything what we do according to our core values. I would like to be remembered, and the team and the company would like to be remembered from that fact that we never compromised on certain things, and we always kind of, we are staying true for ourselves, who we are. I think that's really difficult nowadays. It used to be, I think, I mean, I'm always, when I say that, I feel like an old granny, but I feel that in old days, it was way easier to be yourself. And I think in the business world, what we have built over past, I don't know, 30 years, 20 years maybe, the game has changed a lot. And we always have like these certain role models that we look up to, and like Elon Musk and Steve Jobs and all of these guys. And I'm always been an outsider because I think, what they've done is great, but I don't consider them as a role models from the value point of view. Yeah. And I think that's why I always tell people that please try to stay, true for yourself, and really trust that what you are and what you are representing as you is beautiful. And I think we have to be brave enough to do that.
Yeah, fantastic. And it's a great culture for you and your team to be the legacy that you want to become, kind of. What an incredible, way to operate and work. So
yeah, and I think it's easy when you can do that. Yes. When you have surroundings that you can come to work and be yourself. So you don't have to think that, oh my God, I'm going to go to work and my kind of, me as a work person, I am like this, so I have to put that jacket on before I, walk in. But it's way easier that you come in as you are.
Yeah. Yeah, and linked to that, I would love to learn a little bit more about your journey as a founder. What really sparked you to start and make a difference? Because you have a super interesting background. Can you share a little bit more about it?
Yeah, of course. So my background comes from conventional chemical industry. So I did my PhD in organic chemistry, a very long time ago. And then after that, I joined BASF straight away. And I basically entered, the chemical giant. It was really amazing, an opportunity, a fresh graduate person, to see how the biggest chemical company of this world actually works. And I started to work on the biochemical sector at BASF. And that was also a very unique opportunity because, of course, BASF, among other chemical giants, are known for very heavy oil-based product portfolio. So we had a chance to actually look at the future of BASF in an area of bioeconomy. And that's why we did a lot of investigations in different biomass sources and biochemicals and biopolymers and what have you. And then after BASF, I joined yet another big corporation. I worked for Stora Enso. And that was also interesting time because I started to build something which was non-existing for the company. However, I have always realized that I'm not a corporate person. I don't enjoy that world. But you have to be in that world to really learn I always say how the big boys play. Yes. It was a really amazing time. And then, I decided Origin Bauschen at the time didn't have the name Origin Bauschen. It was my hobby. And I was building the idea that how we could utilize these invasive seaweeds and turn them into biochemicals. So I was actually working in my kitchen to do all the biorefinery steps and all of that. And then there was a time that I was like, okay, now I'm ready. Like, I really want to give it a go, and then moved back to Finland and started to establish the company.
Wow. Okay. And that was how long ago?
That was actually, I have to think now, in 2019. So I founded Origin Bauschen in 2019. So we are now almost 7 years old. We're going to be 1st of March. So that's a big celebration.
Yeah, we're going to celebrate the seventh anniversary.
Yes.
Yes. And has it been any kind of surprises or challenges? What has been like your biggest kind of like, or aha moment during this process, maybe jumping from the corporate job to a hobby that filled your heart and you work in your kitchen to make your own venture now and have a company and now a production company, and yeah, all these things that have happened in the last 7 years?
I think for me, the biggest learning has been in the fundraising. So how to finance your company? What are the different tools and elements you have there, and opportunities, of course. Coming from corporation, of course, we do the same within the corporation, right? You know, you pitch for the different budget and you're trying to get budget for your projects and all of that, but you know where it comes from. There are certain ways how to do it. But suddenly when you are kind of doing it yourself and you have the company and you have to find, you know, the financial means to push it forward, it changes everything. And I think for me, that was really the biggest learning. First of all, how to do that. I had a certain way of talking to investors, and I realized very quickly that is not the way to get the money. So I had to learn also that language and that way of presenting the company and the opportunity. And of course, early on, it was only an opportunity. There was very little to prove that this will actually happen. And I think that's super important to understand, that the idea will take you somewhere, and people, of course, love the idea and all of that, but you have to very quickly to be able to, early on, to have the data and the numbers. And I think that's not difficult. This is the same as in a corporation, but just that how you deliver the message and how you have that conversation. And then, of course, what are the avenues for the financing, where to start, and what's the good option for you? I mean, you don't know, right? So when you start for the first time, you just see that, okay, there are VC guys there and some grants there, and, you know, maybe some debt tools that you can apply to, but you don't know, like, is that a good for me? How is that gonna, if I take this decision today to get, you know, to bring that money in, is that gonna affect my future financial rounds and all of that? So I have learned all of those type of elements through building the company and just being out there and making mistakes and learning from them.
Amazing. And in this process of learning, is there someone who supported you early on or helped you to understand or jump certain milestones at the beginning?
Yeah, I think Origin by Ocean's journey has been incredible. I was very lucky to have 12 wise people to educate me and advise me before the company was even founded. These guys were absolutely amazing. They took the time, they didn't get a pay, not even food, but, you know, they just came together and they were really helping me a lot. So I had lawyers, business people, operational people, you know, everyone joined. And these 12 people, they really made a difference to get the company going. They gave their network and everything. So I'm really grateful for these people, and they also invested into the company during the very first financial round. So I always think that they are kind of also a soul of this company. Yeah. And especially our chair of the board nowadays, Matti Vikkula. Matti is, I always say Matti is my rock. He's the person that I go to, and I have elaborations. He carries a great not just amazing personality, but also amazing experience from the industry. And it's been so amazing to be able to work with him. So he has definitely helped me a lot during the years.
So nice. And you're still surrounded by these amazing people. Like, I guess they're kind of your mentors or your investors or supporters.
Yes, absolutely. And that's a very nice feeling. And I think for the founders, that's very important, that you have to have these go-to people, that it feels okay to give them a call and ask for help, or just have a chat. You don't necessarily even have the question, but you just want to talk about something. And I think that's very, very important. And then also, I've been very lucky to have amazing kind of I don't know how to call her. I mean, she's a coach, but I think she's also always having a bit of a problem to describe what she does. And Katerina Lurani, she's been working with me throughout the years, and really on a very personal level. How to grow as a human. I mean, I think is the toughest job. And I've been very, very happy to do that. And we've done the deep dive, and especially in this position, being a founder and the CEO and growing the company, I think it's very important that you also do reflection and how you behave. And it's tough. I mean, it's not an easy job. So that's why I think it's very important that you also grow with the company.
That's amazing. I love that one. We need to highlight that that wise point, because for a lot of entrepreneurs, it's founders is like a lot of work towards the business, but then also maybe it's women, we tend to focus too much in certain things and we forget about ourselves. And your well-being holistically is kind of the rock for you to be the rock for others. So it's very important, and I think super wise that you got this. You were very lucky to have this support from the start. So you're flying.
Yes, absolutely. And I also think that to do the work with yourself is the toughest part. And when you are being very honest, how you react on certain things and how you really think. And that's something that I always say people that is I think is the best gift, to get to know, to get to know yourself as good as you can, and really realize that you are not perfect. You're a common person, and that's okay. But you have to have the willingness to put the work in, and this is benefiting the whole company. So that's why I also want to do it, because I own to my team that I'm also doing the growing.
Yes, and I guess for the transition, like, it's a everyday job to work on yourself. Like, sometimes we're confused when we are in this kind of entrepreneurial field and we're having a corporate hat, that you need to identify yourself on your needs today, get to know yourself today and be kind of blunt on accepting and acknowledging who you are at this moment. And I guess your purpose, it's quite strong, because you were enrolling a lot of people. So that's a fantastic start of any endeavor, and I think it's magic.
Yeah. And I also think that what happens very easily is that when you go through difficult times and difficult things, because we all do, especially when you are building a company, you feel the pressure. I mean, you physically feel the pressure. This is where you see the true nature of yourself. And I think that's very important, that you realize it, and you have a capability to change it. So you don't snap and you don't go and blame others, but you really, you understand that how to deal with yourself and how your mind works in those situations, because those are the situations where normally the bad decisions are being taken. So you have to make sure that you don't fall to that easy trap.
Yeah, agree. And moving into the future for your dream scenario, which ideal partners or customers or more investors would you like to have on board? What will help you to move to the next stage?
Yeah, I think in general, I like partners who are ambitious. So I think there needs to be an ambitious level that we both want to go, we want to reach higher. We want, and not just saying that, okay, we need to grow bigger in terms of turnovers or anything like that, but just that everything what we do. So we go in and we are very, ambitious to see that everything what we do could be done better. How can we improve this? How can we do that? How we thought about this? So I like these type of partners that think in the same way, and also that we are here together. Like, we do this together. We all have a role to play, and every single role is very important in this big picture to make this thing to work. I like pragmatic way of thinking. I like that we focus on the topic and not things necessarily around it. And I think that's something that is actually very, very inspirational as well.
And in terms of a particular kind of accelerate stage, because you are in setting up a production plant, or the production plant is in place, so the next stage is, or the commercialization, what is there that you are kind of envisioning for the future of the company? Is there any specific kind of need that you have for this next stage?
Well, yes, of course. We need money. So now that we start to build the commercial plant, and as I mentioned early on, that we have this investment project ongoing. So of course we need to finance the first of a kind commercial plant. This is the project that we are currently having. And I think what we need is also the understanding what it means for the whole community and the chemical industry when we start to build this first of a kind of a new production plants, producing new things, added value things, high performance things from the biomass that we have not seen before. So we need, in Europe, we need to change our mindset from this very conventional way of thinking that we keep investing into existing infrastructures, business models, and really, be brave enough to look at the competitive edge, what we should have in Europe. I mean, I think this is the opportunity of a lifetime for Europe. We have a crazy man in the US, we have a crazy man in the East. So now, as a continent, we should definitely step up and say, like, look, this is what we want to do. This is how we do it. We're not going to have this competition on price and volume, but we want to go higher. And we want to, we really want to reclaim the positioning we used to have as an innovative continent. But you don't get there if you don't have people with the vision, and you don't get there if you are not willing to take the risks. But if you always go and just analyze everything to the bitter end and say, like, oh my God, it's too risky, we're not going to go there. Yeah, we're not going to go there. Like, we will not make it. So that's what I think, that this is amazing time, even though it's a tough time. There are lots of super sad things happening, but it's also a time to kind of, rise from the ashes and bring and build something new.
Yeah. And it's kind of getting out of the comfort zone and open up for creativity and, as you say, innovation and a different kind of risk.
Yes.
Kind of reinventing industries, or using the current technology for kind of operate in a different way. And I guess it's kind of the strategy needs to change. The industry strategy needs to change in an industry like the chemical production, as well as so many others that we've
Yes.
been talking in the podcast, like the tourism industry, the maritime industry. Like, there is an opportunity that, yes, the world is in a challenging moment, but there is a huge potential for entrepreneurs like you, and also to get together with other minds and keep on discovering things on the way. And that's why I think it's linked to my next question, which is how does the tool community could support you in what you're doing? How can we make a calling for a little bit of a revolution here in the industry?
I think by coming together for real. I think that's what we have to do in different ecosystems, that we actually come together and we start the conversation. I think we have to be very clear with the offerings that we have. Is that, okay, I can bring this in, you can bring that in, and the third person brings something else. And then we start to build on that. I think what we should start to think through these ecosystems like yours is that we are not competing, but the competition actually happens when we come together. So we can accelerate the competition with each other by coming together. And then we can all be way better, that we can do the improvements and reach higher. And I think that's also something that we all try to, like, all the founders, and they're positioning their startup that, okay, we are the best here, or we do this so well. It's great. I mean, it's great, but we don't have to compete in that avenue. So I think what we should do is that, okay, we are very good at doing this A, and you are super good at doing B. Can we put A and B together? Can we really make it even something greater than these two individual pathways, what we have? And at Origin by Ocean, we have actually started to do that by including other upcycled regenerative ingredients into our demo products. So when we go to the exhibitions, like now we're going to go to In-Cosmetics in Paris, which is the biggest cosmetic fair.
Yes.
And our demo products, they always contain our friends and our competitors, if you like, ingredients. And we promote them as well. And we say, like, do you know that these guys, they have a great upcycled, fatty acid or surfactant or whatever. And I think this is amazing, because then the customers will say that, right, I could actually have an upcycled beauty product. Yes. It's there. The manufacturers are there. So I think that's what we really should do together with everyone, to think from that kind of a thinking, helping each other. Of course, that goes without saying. I think, we can coach each other, we can share the knowledge and learnings and all of that. But I think we should reach higher and also try to think how we can do business together.
Yeah. I always say, like, we need to make the cake better, not try bigger, not try to make our own piece bigger, but that it's space for everyone. And I think that I have heard a lot of kind of companies that are in similar process like yours, and maybe with certain conversations, sharing a little bit of insights, research, contacts, it could be, or even a conversation could change a lot of things, have partnerships. So yeah, I totally agree on your view on, kind of offering a better menu.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I think this could easily be the new competitive edge in this business. And I think that's really, like, that's super inspirational. Even to think that what kind of a business models that we could build around it.
Yeah, totally. And moving on through strength through vulnerability. What has been a personal or a professional challenge that you had to overcome in your process?
I think it's trust. I'm always been a person that I trust people a lot and very easily. I have no problems building trust, and that has been something that I had to learn through some actually very painful journeys in the past, that professional journeys, that maybe you shouldn't trust everyone so quickly. maybe you should really do a bit of an analysis before. I'm always been the person who sees the good in everyone, even though that there is whatever, maybe a bit of a crazy thing happening, but I try to see the goodness within that and like the highest potential of that person. And I think that has been something that I really had to learn, that maybe a bit of thinking and analyzing before trusting fully is actually a very, very good thing to do.
Yeah, because it leaves you. It's a very novel way of doing things, but maybe it's just time that
Yes.
to build the trust.
Yes.
And I know in Scandinavia, trust is everything. And it's beautiful. I think it's beautiful, and the world should trust more in a way. I think it's one of the things that moved me a lot of being Mexican, living in Scandinavia, and the level of trust that it's in this society.
Yes.
It's incredible. So I wouldn't lose that, but maybe just add the time factor in the
Yeah.
there.
Very true. Very true. Yes.
Is there any kind of advice that you would like to send or pass on to other founders that are listening?
I would say, I mean, I was talking about this, I don't know if it's a value, but more way of staying true for yourself. That's something that I always tell founders when we have discussions, that like, do not change if someone is telling you that you have to be this and that. It's a different, I think there are so many different layers, but like the core, your DNA is something that you should definitely keep. It's different that you start learning things and you change in a certain way. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying that stay true for the the values and things you are representing as a person, because in this world many people feel very lost. They feel lost because they have kind of lost themselves. And I think that's always a bad thing. So you have to make sure that you stay who you are, and you remember who you are and where you came from.
Yeah. And that's maybe an amazing strategy that you did at the beginning, that you surrounded by people that maybe when you forget who you are, there's someone who can remind you. Or when you're a bit overwhelmed, like there's someone who can come and say, we know who you are. And that's kind of a very nice and a very human thing of operating. Maybe we have forgotten.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think sometimes we should actually talk about this thing, that what is humanity in this building companies, and I can see that now it's starting. There are more conversations about that, and I think we shouldn't forget that part, because this is human business, very much so. So we should always remember that. But also, I think for the founders, I always say that you have to be very pragmatic. You also have to have a a super good plan, like you have to hold the master plan.
Mm.
And then of course you do the pivoting and you change things and all, but you have to keep that. You have to keep the focus. You have to be able always redirect people back to the path and say that, okay, we have to stay here. This is what we do. And also at the same time, you have to have the capability to look very far. So that's what I think, that it's sometimes a bit crazy that you are dealing with ad hoc situations now, but at the same time you have to remember that, okay, this is actually where we want to go. So we are not there yet, but there are many steps we need to take, but that's the vision. This is where we want to go. And that's what I also think, that sometimes I guess we underestimate the vision and the mission of the company. But it's really important to have, to remind yourself and the team that what is the reason actually why we come to work and why we do what we do.
Yeah, and it doesn't need to be too complex.
No.
The simpler the better, and that's why it's so challenging sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And with regards women around you, because as well this kind of human thing and the new, or the way women are kind of reclaiming our own way of doing things. Do you have any women around you, female founders, who have been supporting you and that you would like to kind of cheer, and we would love to kind of feature next or invite them in the conversation? Is there any names that you would like to share with us?
Yeah, I think Maija Itkonen, she's the founder and CEO for Onego Bio. She's really, for me, she's very inspirational. And she has definitely stories to tell. And amazing. She's really, I don't know, she's a person. And now, sorry, Maija, if you're listening to this, that I'm trying to describe you in a way, but this is my synthesis, that she has this cheerfulness in her, even though that things are going, in the background, there are things happening which are not necessarily very positive. And, the market is difficult, all of that. But she has this certain cheerfulness in her, which I always admire, that when I listen to her and see her somewhere, she's carrying this very positive energy around her. And I think that's something that we definitely need more.
Yeah, I agree. We'll cheer for Maija.
Maija, yes.
Yeah, and we will get in touch with her. Thank you so much for sharing that.
My pleasure.
And with regards new talent and the skills of the new generations, what kind of advice would you give maybe to your young self if you will start over entering this industry, or in general for the young people thinking jumping into these kind of industries? What would be kind of the mindset, skills, view that you would like to share with the next generation?
I think everything starts from the fact that you have to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, it's going to be very difficult others to believe in you. So I think that's something that it makes me a bit sad to see the young generation being so lost in this world today. And that's why they need all the support to kind of come back to the phase where they really trust that they can do it, and they have all the capabilities. So I always say that, and I think that's the value and the thing that you have to carry with you.
Thank you. I think if you have anything else to add or that you would like to share before we finish our wave making.
No, I think it's been a wonderful chat. It actually went to the deep depths a bit that I was not necessarily planning before, but it was a really nice to talk to you, and thank you for bringing out these different layers in the founder journey as well. And I think that's very important. So keep up the good work.
Thank you. And I enjoy so much talking to you. I have so much questions and so many things that we will share. But I just want to say thank you for joining us, and we'll keep in touch. And to everybody listening, thank you for your time. And we see you in the next wave making. Bye-bye. I'm just going to stop the recording.
Yes,
just stay with me.